Coming up on Marriage Today with Jimmy and Karen.
If I marry the right person, the emotions will just always be there. Every morning I'm going to wake up and look at you and just go, hallelujah. Oh. It's happening again. You know, you're going to open your eyes and smell their breath and, you know, see them in the harsh morning light. And there's no such thing. Now listen why this is so important. Because there are a lot of people that believe there's something wrong if they have to work at it.
As a woman, it is so important to be pursued by men, you know, because it puts value back into us. That we're worthy. You really find value in us. That we would, you know, you see something good, and so I think it is so important to always continue that attitude in your marriage.
One of the most important things that we understand related to marriage is there are laws. And a lot of times people are fearful of marriage because they don't understand that there are laws associated with it. Now, I'm a pilot. I'm a licensed pilot. I got my pilot's license last year. My family will not fly with me yet. I mean, let me give that disclaimer. But there are laws related to aerodynamics. And so I'm not afraid to fly as long as I'm respecting the laws, because there are laws. Planes don't just fall out of the air. Is that, you know, when there's a plane that crashes or something that happens wrong, it just didn't happen, you know, just by chance. It's something violated the laws of aerodynamics for that to happen. I say, when you don't understand the laws of marriage, it's a really scary thing. And it was for Karen and me. We got married at 19 years old. We didn't have any pre-marriage preparation before we got married, and so we didn't know. And honestly, I just thought you're either lucky enough to marry the right person or you're unlucky and you marry the wrong person. And honestly, I loved Karen. I was very attracted to her, but I thought I married the wrong person after a few years of marriage, and she did too, because it just wasn't working. We didn't know. No one ever told us. We were violating every law of marriage. And so some of you watching right now, you love each other and God put you together, but you may be frustrated, you may be discouraged, you may be fearful because you've failed before in marriages, or you feel like you're failing now and you don't know what to do. I just want to give you the good news. When God creates anything, He creates it for success. And when God creates anything, He creates it upon the laws of His kingdom and the laws of His Word. So when God created marriage, He said some very important words. And this is Genesis 2:24 and 25. You probably heard this before. It says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed." Marriage is work. You have to work at it. It's a lot of people have misconceptions about marriage. When it says a man shall cleave unto his wife, the word cleave there means to pursue with all energy. It means to cling on to. It's an energetic word. And so from the very beginning, God told us marriage is work. You have to work at it. You know, when you fall in love, you work at the relationship. When I was 16 years old, I asked Karen out. We were 16 years old. We went to elementary and junior high school together, but we didn't know each other. In high school, we started dating when I invited her to a Three Dog Night concert. And 1969 or so. I had a 1969 Dynamic 88 Oldsmobile that my mother wrecked and gave to me. She did that with all my brothers. She wrecked a car and gave us the car that she wrecked and got herself a new one. And I worked at Scrub-A-Dub Car Wash when I asked Karen out, and I had hair down to here, and you know, I was kind of a hood and everything. So I asked her out, but when I asked her out, I remember that I just knocked myself out before I picked her up. I washed my car that day, and I always pulled up on the good side of the car. It was months before she knew my car was wrecked, because I always pulled up on the good side of the car. And I just knocked myself out to be mannerly. You know, those were the days that you drove well. And, you know, I drive just real carefully. If we hit a little bump, I'd say, "Are you okay?" But as soon as I knew that I had her, I began to take her for granted. And that's human nature. Today, we work at our marriage, and our marriage is great as long as we work at it. It's never different than that. No one is the exception to this. But a lot of people have misconceptions related to marriage, and we have to get these misconceptions out of our mind. The first is, if I marry the right person, the emotions will happen naturally and effortlessly throughout our marriage. If I marry the right person, the emotions will just always be there. Every morning I'm going to wake up and look at you and just go, hallelujah. Oh. It's happening again. You know, you're going to open your eyes and smell their breath and, you know, see them in the harsh morning light. And there's no such thing. Now, listen why this is so important. Because there are a lot of people that believe there's something wrong if I have to work at it. If I married my soulmate, and this is the word that's being used a lot today, soulmate. I'm looking for my soulmate. Let me tell you something about your soulmate. A, they're really messed up. Okay, if you think your soulmate is this person that you see them and just go, oh, like that, well, you may fall in love with them, but they're still messed up. Let me tell you another thing about soulmates. They're not born, they're made. The best marriages are not two perfect people who get together and chemistry strikes and they live happily ever after. The best marriages are two very different people who have a lot of incompatibility that roll up their sleeves and go through lots of trouble together, but they stay together and work it out and they come out as best friends. That's how marriage works. The best marriages are people who have high goals and a high work ethic. The worst marriages are people who have high goals and not a good work ethic. That's proven in research. And so if I marry the right person, the emotions will be there. No, they won't. It'll be there to the degree that you work at it. And even if you work at it, there'll be times the emotions just aren't there. The second is, if my emotions change toward my spouse, I must have married the wrong person. No. Again, emotions come and go. I can't predict my emotions, but the best love in the world is love by choice. It's called agape love. It's God's type of love. I don't know what my emotions are going to do tomorrow, but I'm always in control of my will. When I say I love Karen Evans, what I'm saying is this: regardless of how I feel or what she does, I've made a decision. I will always be faithful to her and do my best to love her as Jesus would. That's what I'm saying. I've made a decision. I can't depend on emotions. The most beautiful people in the world, the most talented people in the world, you notice they fall in love, they divorce. They fall in love, they divorce. Why? Because they think if my feelings change, I've got to change spouses. There's something wrong with this. No, if your feelings change, you just work. There's the grass is greener syndrome, you know. It's when the grass looks greener on the other side. And that's what the devil wants to do, whether it's someone across the street or somebody at work or someone real or imagined. You know, the grass always looks greener on the other side. And there's two sayings that I like. One is, when the grass looks greener on the other side, it's time to water your own yard. And here's another good one. The reason the grass looks greener on the other side is because you can't see the poop from here. Everybody looks good from a distance, you know, but live with them for a while. And then you'll see that it's not as good as you thought it was. Everybody looks good from a distance, but when you have to live with that individual, then you see all their issues up front. Let me say, that's when you know my best friends are not the people who love me in the good times. My best friends are the people who know all the dirt and still love me anyway. That's right. Right? And those are the kind of friends you want. Karen and I have been together for a long time. I think we've seen everything, but maybe we haven't. But I can tell you this, we're still together. And that's what love is. It's not the emotion. And we believe that we married the wrong person, but we stuck it out, and we know that God put us together. Number 3, misconception of love and romance. Positive events, experiences, and actions should fuel the relationships and our emotions long term. In other words, if we take a trip to Hawaii, or if we have a big Valentine's weekend or whatever, that's going to last for a long time. And that's not true. Marriage operates on the manna principle. The children of Israel woke up every morning when they were in the wilderness, and for 40 years, every day manna was there, and God said, you can't accumulate it. You can only pick up one day's worth, except before the Sabbath, you can pick up 2 days' worth. He said, but you have to pick it up every day. First thing they did is the Israelites went out and took all they could and put it in their tents. You know, and what happened, it says, it bred worms and stank. They were trying to accumulate it, and God says, no, I want you to learn to relate to me every day and trust me every day. A relationship with Jesus is an everyday thing, not an every month thing or an every year thing. Love is a perishable commodity. Yesterday's love is worthless. It has to be renewed every single day. It doesn't matter what your emotions were a year ago. I'm telling you, I've been a Christian for 40 years, and I'm just telling you right now, if I go 3 or 4 days without praying and reading the Bible, it changes. I mean, God doesn't change, but it changes me. I've got to have a daily relationship with God. The love and the passion that I have for God, it has to be something that's expressed daily, not monthly, not annually. Same is true with Karen. Marriage is a daily thing that we need to love each other every day. Now, men are the worst. Women kind of get that, but men are the worst related to this because men think in terms of points. You know, how many points do I have in the bank? And I'm in trouble, so how can I accumulate some big points in a hurry to get out of trouble? And men and points. So here are how men kind of think about points. Here are the big points for men. Date, that's good points. Flowers, always a winner. Card, jewelry's big, 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 big. Housework, trip, giving up a sporting event, taking care of the kids, going shopping with her. The ultimate now is going to a girl movie where there's no killing. And that's the ultimate. Like that. You know you're in love when you're willing to do that. I went to see The Horse Whisperer with Karen, and I just thought I was going to die. I really did. But some men say that point system. Yeah, great. Okay, here's the way it works. So you take her on a trip, you do something big for her, and you're thinking, man, that was big. That cost a lot of money. That's going to last for a long time. All points evaporate at midnight every night. Jewelry lasts maybe 2 to 3 days, and that's the biggest of all. And you're just thinking, man, I am Don Juan. I took her out on this big date. I did this and this and this, and boy, do I have some big points. And so you wake up the next morning, she's just kind of hanging over your bed. You're saying, hey, good morning. Hello. Well, honey, good morning. I mean, what about our trip to Hawaii? What? Get up. Get up. You're just thinking, my gosh, I did all that yesterday. That was yesterday. What are you going to do today? It's an everyday. They don't accumulate. I'm just telling you right now, marriage is an everyday deal. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. What are you going to do today? Every single day. And again, we have the tendency to want to accumulate points so that we can, ride those for 2 or 3 months while we're out checked out doing something else. Marriage is an everyday thing. And here's another misconception. When we have no emotions or have fallen out of love, there is no way to get the love back. Well, all there is. In Revelation chapter 3, God says to the church at Ephesus that has fallen out of love with Him, remember where you fell from, repent, and do the deeds you did at first. When Karen and I fell out of love, the way we fell back in love was very simple. We didn't have any emotions. We didn't like each other. We thought that we had made a mistake, and we were both very scarred in our marriage. But we began to do what we did when we first fell in love. We began to pursue each other. First of all, I told her I was sorry. I hung up my golf clubs. We made each other first. We began to be together and work at the relationship. Let me say this. Within several weeks, we were more in love than we'd ever been before. It didn't take forever. Some people say they're out of love. I understand. We had no emotion in our relationship except for negative emotion. Several weeks later, we were passionate about each other. Now listen to me. When you start violating the laws of marriage, the devil always comes in to tell you that you made a mistake and the only answer is to divorce and all that. All you have to do is put each other first and start working on it. And you'll get the love back. I hope you enjoyed that teaching. That is a really important teaching about marriage. That comes from my full seminar called Marriage on the Rock. It is a 10-part seminar. We want to get it to you along with the book, but first of all, for your gift of any amount right now, to support the mission and the ministry of Marriage Today. We go all over the world helping people succeed in marriage, helping marriages to stay together and solve problems, and helping little children to stay together with their parents. It's one of the most important things that we do as a ministry. When you support us here at Marriage Today, we're going to bless you. We're going to send you for your gift of any amount this teaching called The Most Important Issue in Marriage. And it is. It's the most important teaching you will ever hear when you send a gift of any amount here to support the ministry and mission of Marriage Today, which is so critical in the day that we live in. For your gift of $50 or more, we'll send you the full 10-part audio series of Marriage on the Rock. It's a full CD series along with a book, Marriage on the Rock. But for your gift of $110, we'll send you the DVD series. Full 10-part DVD series, part of what you saw today, but the full series along with the Marriage on the Rock book, and as a bonus, Happy, Happy Love. That's our romance book. That gives you date night tips and just how to keep the love alive in your marriage every single day. We want to get these important resources into your hands, and here's how you can get them.
Marriage on the Rock, the best-selling book and series, is the essential resource to having the marriage of your dreams. Through this power-packed series, marriage expert Jimmy Evans will show you how to deal with real-life challenges and offer easy-to-understand solutions that will transform your relationship. Jimmy will address all the major issues a couple will encounter, like communication, finances, sex, kids, his and her needs, blended families, and much more. For your gift of any amount, you'll receive the CD single, The Most Important Issue in Marriage. For your gift of $50 or more, we'll send you the Marriage on the Rock book and CD series. For your gift of $110 or more, you'll receive the book and DVD series, plus the Passion Reigniting Happy, Happy Love book. Discover God's design for your dream marriage. Whether you've been married for years or just preparing for the journey, experience Marriage on the Rock today.
Well, this program today is from Marriage on the Rock, and it's talking about the foundational laws of marriage, Karen. And when we got married, we didn't know anything about marriage, but we certainly didn't know that there were foundational laws of marriage. And so these laws, one of the laws that we're talking about today is called the law of pursuit, where God said, for this cause a man will leave his father, mother, and cleave unto his wife. And by the way, when it frames this to the masculine, and it says a man will cleave unto his wife, it's saying the man is responsible first to pursue his wife. Okay, so it's both spouses should do this, but it's the man who ought to lead. Women love their husbands to be the initiator of the well-being of the relationship. And so I was lazy. I mean, we got married and I was lazy, and it affected our relationship.
Well, but I think too, you had a strong personality, so I think it was easy for you to pursue me, and I think you did want me. I mean, it's like, I'm going to get her no matter what. But, and so on the other side of that too, I know there's men that are more shy, and they're not as pursuing, but as a woman, it is so important to be pursued by men, because it puts value back into us, that we're worthy, you really find value in us, that we would, you see something good. And so I think it is so important to always continue that attitude in your marriage, even as the days go on, or the years go on, because that's what, I love. I love the way, you do pursue me, and you do say things like, we need to have a date night, or we need to go out, or, it's just so important for a woman to know that she is valued, like you said.
Yeah. Well, the thing that we need to understand, and it's talking about romance. In fact, we have a question from one of our viewers on romance. But the issue, Karen, is me being romantic with you means that I'm pursuing you based on your needs. And a part of our Marriage on the Rock seminar that we do in the book and everything, it talks about the different needs of men and women. But you have different needs than me. So one of my greatest needs is sex, but one of yours is communication and soft, non-sexual affection. So a man can say, I'm pursuing my wife, but you could be pursuing her to get your own needs met, and she's just saying, hey, buddy, just back off a little bit.
There's more to the package.
There's more to the package than that. And women feel objectified. They feel like that they're not being loved for their whole being. And men the same way. When a wife is pursuing her husband, he needs respect, he needs sex, he needs friendship. It's just a different thing. So, but the main thing is to understand it's a law. It's not a principle, it's a law. And you see people, and I'm just going to say visible people like movie stars and things like that, and I feel sorry for them. We're no better than they are. But you see these movie stars who get married, passionate marriage, and they just get married. It's so phenomenal, and they get on TV and they talk about it, then they divorce. And then they get the next one. Well, listen, what's wrong with that relationship? And it is, they think the chemistry is supposed to make it work. You have to have a work ethic in your relationship, and to the degree that you work at your relationship. We've been married 39 years. And we have a wonderful marriage because we work at it, okay?
All the time.
But the minute you stop working at it, you're going to begin to experience problems.
I agree.
Okay, now you have a question, I think.
I do. Whenever an anniversary or a Valentine's Day rolls around, my wife always expects me to be ultra romantic. We usually end up in a fight.
Your wife needs romance. And romance to her is not just really, it shouldn't happen on anniversaries and Valentine's Day. It should happen every single day. But he's saying she wants me to be ultra romantic. Now, probably for him, that just means, you know, taking a shower. I don't know what it means, but
perfume on.
He doesn't sound like he's really into it. So romance keeps the skills of the relationship alive. And when you're not romantic, it means that you're no longer pursuing each other, you're no longer communicating with each other, you're no longer trying to please your spouse. And at the bedrock of every great marriage is, I'm trying to please you. I mean, if I'm not trying to please you, who am I trying to please? And a lot of times what we're doing is we're pleasing ourselves and we're wondering why the marriage is going south. And so I'm saying to Grant is, you be romantic every day. And romance means meeting your spouse's needs before you're told to. That's what's romantic. It means being creative. My uncle, I tell a story about my uncle. He and my aunt were married for 40 years. He wrote my aunt a new poem every day for 40 years. Now you think about that. I mean, that is really creative and romantic. And she was in heaven, by the way. They had a great marriage. And so we're going to go to another segment in our program here in just a minute, and we're going to close. Now, let me say, your marriage can work, and we hope that this program has been an encouragement to you. You know, regardless of where you are, Karen and I were on the brink of divorce. That's what I was talking about in the teaching there. And today we have a great marriage, and we've had it for a long time because we work at it, because we put each other first. And so no one is the exception to that. And so if you're struggling today, if you're hopeless today, hey, listen, as long as there's a God in heaven who loves you, and there is a God in heaven and he loves you, there's hope for your marriage and there's hope for your relationship. So we want you to know that. Now we're going to be back in just a minute. We have a special group of people who help us here at Marriage Today. In fact, they're really the backbone of the ministry, and they're called Rock Solid Partners. And they support us monthly on different levels. You're going to see the details of that here in just a second. But I want to say this is a ministry and a mission that goes across America and all over the world. And we help people succeed in marriage. We help people to solve their marriage problems. We help people who have experienced pain and failure in marriage to get hope and the skills they need to be married successfully. But one of the most important things we do is keep little children's parents together. When a couple stays together, that means that children stay together with their parents, and their lives are better and their lives are different because of that. And we can't do that without the financial support of our partners. Our rock solid partners are just a precious and important part of our ministry here. And Karen and I are asking you to stand with us financially and to become a rock solid partner. When you do that, you get a very important resource, and here's more about how you can stand with us.
When you stand with Marriage Today, your individual effort multiplies with other like-minded partners, and together we can rebuild the dream of marriage for couples around the world. Being a rock-solid partner with Marriage Today grants you immediate access to an exclusive library of the ministry's resources and intimately connects you with our mission of helping couples succeed in marriage.
That's really why we became Rock Solid Partners, just because there was so much available to help us to help other marriages heal the way that we have.
That's why we're tied into the ministry. We want to be able to bless and give so they can keep doing what they're doing.
You're guaranteed if you listen to any of the resources, you read the resources, you come to a conference, you will be changed.
Everyone has something to give, and there are millions of unreached couples who desperately need the marriage-strengthening resources of Marriage Today. That's why we need you to join us. Become a rock-solid partner with the ministry and mission of Marriage Today.
Okay, we're talking about pursuing each other. It's a law of marriage that God in the very beginning in Genesis 2 said, "For this cause a man shall leave his father, mother, and cleave," which means to pursue his wife. It's just a law of marriage, Karen, that everybody has to follow to be successful. And so we have another question from a viewer.
A viewer wrote in and said, how do you keep the marriage hot and passionate after years of being together?
and that's Maggie in Ohio. You know, one of the things that people really want, and you can't blame them, is passion. It's a word that we use here in our ministry, you know, in marriage seminars and our program and things. And anytime you talk about passion, people say, I want that. No one wants a boring, dull marriage. But let's talk about disciplines and traditions. It's not what you can make happen, it's what you can keep happening. That's the issue. You can make almost anything happen. I could do a backflip once. I just couldn't keep doing it, okay? So you can, you know, you can goo-goo over each other and you can do all kinds of things to get a relationship kick-started, but can you keep it happening? Well, you can if your disciplines and traditions are right. So every week you have a date night. Okay, this is one of the most important things that couples do. Don't get lazy. Don't stop going out with each other. Don't stop, you know, dressing up and smelling good and going out and finding something fun to do. The other thing would be, Karen, is like going on a day or two trip every month or two. Get someone to take care of the kids. We used to go to the cheap, crummy hotels 30 miles away, and we had a terrific time because we were broke, but we were with each other. But we did it regularly. In fact, sometimes, Karen, we would be in a really busy time in our lives, but we put it on our schedule before anything else, and we knew, listen, we've got another busy couple of weeks taking care of kids, doing all that, but we're going to be together for this weekend in 2 weeks. It's disciplines and traditions, walking together. We used to wake up in the mornings when our kids were little, old enough to stay together in the morning, stay alone in the mornings, but we used to go walking every morning. And we used to talk and pray, and it was one of the bedrocks of our relationship.
And I think if the couples listen to each other, you know, like, you know, during the week before you're going to have a date night or whatever, you know, start paying attention to what your spouse likes, doesn't like, and listen. And notice the things that they really are important to them. You know, like I know you love golf, and so I think back on how many times, you know, it was just so, to me it was exciting to plan something special around golf for you. Whether it was like, okay, I'm going to go sit in the golf cart and you're going to golf. You know, we did this on vacation this year, and you loved me just being with you. And but it was you know, and it's a passionate thing. It's something you start and then it continues on because you're thinking of each other. If I love it and you act like it's important enough for us to do it together, then that builds the passion too.
That's what marriage is.
Yeah.
You fall in love having fun together and pursuing each other. That's how you stay in love. It just never changes, and it doesn't matter who you're married to. It's always the same. I'm sorry that we're out of time, but we are. But we're going to be back here again next time for more marriage information to bless you. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Marriage Today with Jimmy and Karen. Support Marriage Today with your best gift and receive the series Marriage on the Rock. Looking for your next great book? Start reading instantly with Marriage Today's ebooks, now available online. Plan now to attend an upcoming Marriage Today seminar or speaking event. Visit marriagetoday.com/events for registration and complete details. Become a rock-solid partner today and connect with the mission of Marriage Today. Together, we can help couples succeed in marriage.
This program is made possible by the generous support of our faithful partners.